Going to shift our focus to another story wherein, as the row escalates over former US President Barack Obama's comments, my colleague Shivani Gupta spoke to former Commissioner of the United States Commission on International Religious Freedom, Johnnie Moore, over this issue. Listen into what they had to say.
I was particularly intrigued by your comment where you disagreed with President Obama's statements on minority rights in India. Now, you've headed a body, you've been a commissioner of a body that routinely rates India very poorly and marks India as a country of particular concern, particularly on this issue of minority rights and freedoms. So could you begin by explaining to me how someone like you, who's been part of this body and has produced those reports, disagrees with President Obama's comments made on Prime Minister Modi and India?
Well, like lots of people in a democracy, I don't choose to believe what I believe based upon what leaders, present or former, say. And I just thought that the former president, who is one of the smartest and most sophisticated leaders in American history, was remarkably unwise to make that comment. In fact, it's suspiciously unwise. I mean, he's not the type of leader that would just say something without really considering it. And so I thought that aside from the substance of his point of view, I thought the timing was just entirely inappropriate. And to say that India would pull apart, I mean, it's like one thing I know about India, and you ask why I have a slightly different point of view. It's because probably because I've spent some time in India. I've been to India more than 20 times, mainly when I was younger, but through the years. And what I find is that India actually, the DNA of India actually pulls together. It doesn't pull apart. It's the more vibrant the debate in the democracy, the more passionate the disagreement when it comes to the religious diversity and 2,000 different languages and 2,000 different political parties, maybe 5,000 languages. Actually, that's the secret of India. The country pulls together. It doesn't pull apart. It's like metal. When you put fire on it, it gets stronger. And so I was just really surprised by the timing, the appropriateness, and the substance of the former president's comments.
What do you mean by the timing of the comments?
Well, I mean, to make those remarks on the eve or during the visit of the prime minister, I mean, that is either intentional or it's a political mistake that should be well beyond a leader with his experience. I mean, there's only one message that is coming from this visit in the United States, and only one message that I think should be resonating with India, and that is that we're entering a new moment between Indian and American relations. The relations have always been good. We're the oldest democracy in the world, the largest democracy in the world. We're partners in all kinds of things. Well, first of all, in the commission, there are 9 commissioners, so it's a group of commissioners, and one of the benefits of being on the commission is the legislation that created the commission allows individual commissioners to express their alternative points of view. And I expressed my alternative point of view because, as I said to plenty of people over the last few days, the United States is not a perfect country. India is not a perfect country. There are always things to criticize. There are always ways to improve, particularly in democracies. We all know what those countries do. We all know what the policies of those countries are. And I just thought it was inappropriate, and I said so at the time. I say so again. And by the way, what also shocked me about the former president's comments, the former president was the president of the United States for 2 terms. He can pick up the phone and call anybody in the world he wants to call, and they'll answer his call. And that's the appropriate way of, even if that is his point of view, a point of view which I think is absurd, to comprehend the dissolution of India. My view, to be clear, is that India's democracy is not. Let me just put it even more clearly. India is the single most important country in the world right now. There is no more consequential leader in the world than the Prime Minister of India, Prime Minister Modi. And the only thing that the leaders of the United States should be doing now, past and present, is working on strengthening and celebrating this relationship. I I'm sure there's politics mixed in it. I'm sure there are organizations with political agendas that are involved in every side of this conversation. But that's why engagement is so important.